And I'm just supposed to smile and grin and bear it and just keep, like, enough is enough.
Love Taraji. She's an amazing actress. There's no beef with that.
Can't talk me into something else unless you show me.
What the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
She slapped the out of me, like for real.
What if I told you one of Hollywood's most respected actresses tried to secretly sabotage another black woman's career just to steal her spotlight? Taraji P, Henson and Nia Long were once seen as icons. Strong, talented, unstoppable. But behind the scenes, it was war, backstabbing, jealousy, silent feuds, and a meltdown so explosive, the crew almost had to separate them on set. This wasn't just diva drama, this was a power grab. And Taraji finally had enough, because when the cameras stopped rolling, the real story started. And what happened next? Hollywood wasn't ready. You ever walk into a room and instantly feel the tension? That's exactly what it was like on the set of Empire when Taraji P. Henson and Nia Long were around. From the jump, something was off. Word is, they couldn't even look each other in the eye, let alone share a scene without drama boiling under the surface. And we're not talking subtle shade. This was full-blown behind-the-scenes chaos. According to insiders, the tension got so thick producers nearly had to shoot their scenes separately just to keep the peace. Now imagine that. Two powerhouse actresses who should have been lifting each other up, instead walking on set like it was a battlefield. It wasn't acting. The beef was real. And here's the twist. This wasn't just about egos clashing. Nope. Rumors started flying that Nia wasn't just throwing attitude, she allegedly wanted Taraji gone. That's right, fired. And it all boiled down to one thing, Cookie Lion. The lead role, the spotlight, the crown. But that wasn't the whole story, because what Nia allegedly did next, it took the feud to another level and nearly blew the entire show apart. So here's where it gets really messy. Allegedly, Nia Long wasn't just throwing side eyes, she was making moves behind the scenes. Rumor has it, she started lobbying producers to shift the storyline in her favor. We're talking plot rewrites, character upgrades, and more screen time. Basically, she wanted to edge Taraji out and slide herself into the main spotlight as the leading woman on Empire. And yes, that meant pushing Cookie Lion, the heart of the show, to the sidelines. Bold, right? But Taraji, she wasn't having it. The moment she caught wind of what Nia was trying to pull, things escalated fast. No more smiles, no more pretending everything was cool. Taraji made it clear this was her show, and she wasn't about to let anyone snatch the crown she worked so hard to earn. Tensions exploded, and suddenly it wasn't just a feud, it was war. The moment that nearly turned into a brawl, oh, it was ugly. Nia shows up late to set again, everyone's waiting, the crew's tense, and Taraji's had enough, so she calls her out, but not gently. Taraji looks Nia dead in the face and says, "Are you on your period or something?" People were stunned, but not exactly shocked. This wasn't just about a missed call time. This was years of unspoken tension, insecurity, and ego finally blowing up in front of everyone. And here's the kicker. Word is, most of the crew low-key sided with Taraji. Why? Because they couldn't stand working with Nia either. Behind the scenes, her attitude was already rubbing everyone the wrong way. And that little showdown, it was just the beginning. Because after that moment, people started coming forward. Complaints were filed, and suddenly, Nia wasn't just beefing with Taraji, she was beefing with the entire set. Now here's where it all blew wide open. After that near fight, everything started unraveling fast. The hair and makeup team, done, fed up. They officially filed a formal complaint against Nia for her attitude. Yep, the only complaint ever filed in the entire history of Empire. Let that sink in. Sources say she was consistently disrespectful, snapping at stylists, rejecting looks last minute, and showing up late like it was no big deal. And instead of working with the team, she'd just tear them down. Nia knows her light. Nia knows her makeup. That's what she'd say. But really, she was just impossible to please. The crew was walking on eggshells every time she stepped on set. Even people who had worked with big-name celebs before, rappers, A-listers, divas, you name it, said no one brought the chaos like Nia did. She wasn't just hard to work with, she was the storm. And yet, when it came time for her final day on set, you'd think there'd be at least a goodbye, right? Nope. What actually happened when Nia wrapped her last scene? It was the most awkward, ice-cold moment of all. And what they did, or didn't do, spoke louder than words. When Nia filmed her very last scene on Empire, tradition says the assistant director should shout, "That's a wrap for Nia Long," followed by claps, cheers, maybe even a hug or two. Instead, crickets. Not a single clap, not a single word, just dead silence. But wait, it gets pettier. Sources say Terrence Howard suddenly had an allergic reaction at that exact moment. The assistant director, magically too busy looking for Benadryl to acknowledge Nia's exit. Coincidence? Not likely. Word around set was, they did it on purpose. That's how done they were. No celebration, no send-off, just a silent, don't let the door hit you. And Nia, instead of bowing out quietly, she allegedly threatened to sue over the whole thing. Yup, after all the drama, she still wanted to go out with a bang. But here's the part that stings. This wasn't just professional fallout. It was personal. The vibe was wrecked. The cast was drained, and the crew? Over it. Still think it was all about a role, because if you dig deeper, it starts to look like this feud had been simmering for years, long before Empire ever started. Rolling. And trust me, the history between these two runs deep. See, this wasn't just about Empire. Nia Long had been side-eyeing Taraji P. Henson for years, and insiders say jealousy was at the root of it all. Here's the thing. Nia started in the game way earlier. She had those 90s classics under her belt and saw herself as the it girl. But while Taraji was quietly grinding, Nia thought she already had the crown. Then, boom, Empire happened. Taraji didn't just rise, she exploded. Cookie Lion became a cultural icon. The spotlight shifted, and suddenly, Nia wasn't the name everyone was talking about anymore. That stung. And here's where it gets even messier. Taraji and Terrence Howard's chemistry was undeniable. The work-wife energy was real. But guess who used to be Terrence's original screen partner? Nia. Yep, they had a long working history, from The Best Man to Life in a Year. So now, imagine watching someone else slide into your old spot and steal the show. That had to hit a nerve. And according to those on set, it did. Hard. And what Nia did next? Let's just say it proved this wasn't just professional envy. It was personal. Because the grudge, it didn't end there. It only got deeper. Now, if you thought the Empire drama was explosive, wait until you hear what Nia's been doing outside the show. Turns out, this pattern didn't start with Taraji, and it definitely didn't end there. Nia's been called out before for feeling entitled to major roles. One of the most eyebrow-raising examples? She publicly questioned why she wasn't even considered for Zoe Saldana's lead in Avatar. Yep, Avatar. She said she felt passed over. And while she claimed it wasn't shade, people couldn't help but side-eye the comment. Because let's be real, Zoe had been carving out a lane in action films for years. Meanwhile, Nia's known more for rom-coms and dramas. Totally different lanes. It's almost like every time she doesn't get picked, she has to speak on it, like the industry owes her something. And that constant need to insert herself into casting conversations she wasn't even part of, it's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And when she doesn't get her way, that's when the shade starts flying. But that's not the only red flag, because even directors and co-stars have some wild stories of working with Nia. And trust me, they don't hold back. Let's talk receipts, because directors and actors who've worked with Nia, they've got stories, and they're not pretty. Take director Malcolm Lee. During an interview, when asked who gave him the most trouble on set, guess who he immediately named? Nia Long. He didn't even hesitate. Said she was a challenge from day one, didn't want to be filmed at first, came with attitude. That alone says a lot, but it doesn't stop there. Tay Diggs? Same deal. He shared a behind-the-scenes moment from The Best Man where Nia was supposed to fake slap him during a scene. But according to Tay, she didn't fake it. She smacked him hard, on purpose. He even paused mid-take, confused. Like, yo, was that acting or did I just get assaulted? And from the way he told it, it felt personal. Now, one or two issues? Maybe you chalk it up to bad days, but it's starting to look like a pattern. From cast to crew, directors to co-stars, Nia's name keeps coming up, for all the wrong reasons. And just when you think that's the extent of it, another Hollywood feud steps into the light, because Nia's track record with other actresses, that's a whole other storm. And now enter Jada Pinkett Smith. Yep, another major Hollywood name with history and heat toward Nia Long. These two go way back, but not in a friendly way. Insiders say they've never gotten along. It's not one argument. It's not one misunderstanding. It's a long-standing feud that just never cooled off. At this point, it's giving pattern. Every time Nia's in the room with another successful black actress, drama follows. Taraji, Jada, Sherry Shepherd, the list is stacking up like a script of its own. One person calling you difficult? Fine. Two? Maybe coincidence. But when nearly every co-star, director, and actress you've worked with has smoke, something's not adding up. And still through all this, Nia hasn't addressed a single thing. No apology. No clarification, just silence. But the silence, it's speaking volumes. And Taraji's not the only one who's fed up. There's one last piece of this puzzle, and it hits deeper than you think. Here's the part that hits different. At one point, Nia Long actually stood with Taraji. When Taraji spoke out about the pay gap in Hollywood, how black women have to fight twice as hard for half the credit, Nia backed her up, publicly. She agreed with everything Taraji said, so how do you go from being an ally to allegedly trying to get her fired? That's the part that stings the most. Because Taraji wasn't just fighting producers or contracts, she was fighting for the women coming up behind her, for fairness, for respect, and to have another black actress turn around and undermine that, it felt like betrayal. And now, after all this, Nia's still silent. No statement, no interview, no, y'all got it wrong, just crickets. Meanwhile, the stories keep piling up. More drama, more shade, more chaos. So here's the real question. Is Nia Long just misunderstood? Or is the real her finally being exposed? Because the list of people she's clashed with, it's long and growing. And if she's really not the villain people claim, why hasn't she said anything? The silence is loud, and the truth might be louder. Stay tuned, because in Hollywood, the drama never sleeps. So, after all the whispers, side eyes, and full-blown clashes, the truth is hard to ignore. Nia Long's name keeps popping up in every room where drama follows. And Taraji, she's just the latest to speak up. The silence from Nia, that's no coincidence. No denial, no explanation, just letting the mess marinate. And honestly, it's starting to feel like the industry isn't scared to call her out anymore. Was it jealousy, ego, or just years of unresolved tension finally boiling over? Whatever it is, this feud exposed something deeper than just two stars clashing. It's about power, pride, and what really happens when the spotlight starts to shift. But here's the thing. In Hollywood, reputations don't just fade, they get peeled back, layer by layer. And right now, Nia Long's image is cracking. If you think the drama ends here, trust me, it doesn't. Hit that subscribe button, because the stories behind the scenes are always crazier than what you see on screen. And the next bombshell could drop any minute.